Hey guys, I had mentioned a while back that I wanted to do a little bit of a study with monochrome painting and some of my favorite colors. So today we're going to do a very simple, straightforward, I guess kind of mountainy study with Prussian Blue. You guys know that Prussian Blue is one of my favorite blues. I use it all the time, and I happen to have a lot of it out of the tube because every time I open my M-gram tube, it starts to come out. So I actually started this and realized I didn't have my microphone on, so I had to stop. So as you can see, I mixed up, let me bring this down a little bit. I just mixed up some really watery Prussian Blue. I started laying it down. We're going to come in here. Most of this is going to get covered, so I'm not too fussed about it. I'm going to come up just a little and just fill it in. And like I said, it doesn't have to be pretty. So doing this is going to kind of be a study in, I guess, values and how paints layer on each other and how the different amounts of water really affect your color. I got a dog hair in there. Oh, well, it'll be fine. So I just wanted a little bit for the sky there. And for this one, we have to have a little patience, or we have to have a heat gun, because you do have to make sure all the layers are dry. So that said, I am going to pause for a moment and dry this, and we'll be right back. All right, and we're back. So I just wanted to lay down just a very, very light blue for that sky. And then we're going to mix up something a little darker. It's very useful on this one to have a tester strip so you can kind of see where you're at. It's probably going to be just a hair dark. So let's add a little bit of water, because what we're going to do is add color pigment as we go, and that's going to make our foreground look like it's closer. So everything in the background is going to be very light, and then in the foreground it's going to be darker. So that's probably about what I want. And you can do this in as many layers as you like. There's no right or wrong on this. And so you're just going to come in with a mountain range or hills or whatever. It doesn't have to be perfect. Mother Nature rarely is. And we're going to come down. You can bring this all the way down. You don't have to, though, because as you add pigment, it's going to be enough to darken as you go down without doing it. So I don't always come all the way down with this. Sort of just depends. That looks like a brush hair. Well, actually, that may be dog hair. Clearly, that's going to be my theme for today. The dog hair. So we're just coming in with this. Again, this doesn't have to be perfect. It doesn't have to be even. It doesn't have to be anything but on the paper. So, and we're going to make sure we've got everything covered that we want to cover. And then once again, we're going to pause so I can dry this. All right, we're nice and dry again. So we're going to work here and get a little darker color. And as you can see, as I came in, I kind of didn't line up the exact same way again. So we already got a little bit of an effect there. So I'm going to come in with a little more Prussian Blue. I use this blue for almost, well, not almost everything, but I use this for a lot of things. It is definitely one of my favorite blues, and it is hands down my favorite color to use on a night sky. So trying to see what I think here. Just a little bit more. I know a lot of people will mix up a whole lot at first, which is smart, but I'll be honest, I always worry about getting a little too much and then having a bunch of it sit around. That probably wouldn't be an issue with Prussian blue for me, but for other colors, definitely. All right, so then that layer's dry. We're just going to come in with our next one. And these don't have to line up in any way. They don't have to be anything, any like set shape or anything. I'm just sort of making a squirmy line here. And then I come in and fill in. And as we come forward, like I said, we're going to get darker and darker values. Like that. Go ahead and get a little more in here. I can hear my dog chewing on something he's probably not supposed to be chewing on, knowing him. And as you're mixing this up and you're testing it, you kind of want to make sure that you're not, you don't, when you test it, make sure that you have all the paint out of the end of your brush, because if you don't, then you're going to end up with a streak of something dark. Okay, I think that's going to work. All right, we're going to dry one more time. All right. We already mixed up this next blue. I think we're good. All right. No, nope, we need a little more. Let's try that. And once again, we'll pull it all the way down. And these don't have to all sit one under the other. You can overlap them if you like. There are really no rules to this other than light to dark. So I actually find doing these kind of soothing. I end up doing stuff like this when I guess it's kind of another relax your brain scenario for me. Alright, another dry. Alrighty, let's darken this a little more. And you can do as many layers on this as you like. There's no rules on this. So this time, let's kind of come up. Like that. Just adding our layers in. I feel like this is something that's a really nice beginner-friendly thing. It teaches you, how your values change with water and some layering. If anybody's curious, I believe that I am using a Light Wish journal here. All right. And a little dry. All right. So also, if you want, you can go a little darker on each of these. Like if you don't want these layers to be as transparent, you can do that. There's no reason you can't. All right. So I like to make sure that that first line is still pretty damp. So I want that darker edge definitely to be in there. And there we go. And if you want to do your mountains or hills, you know, a little more jagged, front to back or something like that, you can do that. All right, one more dry. All right, so I know some people just sort of do a fast forward through their dries like that, but I'm not talented enough with the editing yet. Editing videos is a lot more complicated than people think it is. All right, let's see. I want to go up. Is this one? And then back down. Up here. So, like I said, this is, for me, this is kind of a relax your brain. I don't really have to think about it. You just kind of do it. Go from there. Sometimes if I want my edges a little more defined, then I can come back while it's still wet. Let's get this in here. Get just a little bit of this. So I'm just getting a little bit of the Payne's gray that I have, and I'm just going to kind of touch if I want this line to be a little more defined. And this is a little more exaggerated than what I would normally do, but I just want to make sure that it shows up well. And you can do this in these areas that overlap. Like I said, if you kind of don't want to see the one behind it through it, you can do that. So like that. Go ahead and darken my stuff here. I may have to get some out for the last round. We'll see. So Prussian Blue is pretty similar. I'm going to just prep some in case I need it. Prussian Blue is pretty similar across the board, but we'll try to use up what we had first and then go from there. All right, so another dry. All right, so I'm going to do, I don't know, 2, maybe 3 more. We'll see. All right. So I try not to follow the exact same like general pattern every time. And I think that's easy to kind of like follow the exact same, rise and fall every time. So I try to be aware of it so that I'm not creating the same basic, like we go up here and then we come down and that kind of thing. And sometimes you do it and you don't even realize you're doing it. Yeah, I think we'll get 3 more total, counting this one. Okay. So we are getting there. And if you don't like one, like say you really kind of want to come up here instead, then just go back. It's not that serious. I think that's one of the other glorious things about doing one of these is it doesn't have to be perfect and it's not serious and you can just play with it. All right, dry time. Okay, I think this is our next to last. Let's get a little more in here. Like this. Okay. Let's see. How do we want to do this? All right. I think I'm gonna do this. that. And then I've got dogs under the table who are trying to get my attention. Apparently, they do not want me to be painting right now. So, I got two that are planting their heads on my lap and bringing me toys. Hi, guys. All right. So, I think we're just going to do one more, and we are going to do that almost straight out of the tube. So, as you can see, our stuff has gotten darker as we come in. And I showed you how to define some of those lines if you wanted to. So let's try this one more time. All right, last mountain row. Let's see. And so this is mostly pure pigment. I put my stuff in pans, but I do prefer tube pigments. So that one's like that. So I do I don't buy like pans. I'm just not a fan overall of them. So just bring some of this in here. And then we just fill the rest of this in. And if any of you have watched my You Want to Paint a Night Sky video, you know that Prussian Blue is one of my absolute favorite colors for a good night sky. I'm kind of running a little dry here. That's okay. Like that. All right. Okay. Let's see. All right. I got glare. I'm trying to see if I missed any spot. I don't think I did. All right, let's try it. Okay. So we've got our mountains. I kind of came in a little similar on these two, but oh well, like I said, it's not that serious. So I'm going to go ahead and unclip it. I had already taped it up just before I started. Everything is dry, so I don't tend to worry about variations, like if I got a little more paint in one spot, because if you're doing something like this, like I said before, nature isn't perfect, and you know, these hills or mountains are going to have ridges, and they're going to have outcroppings, and they're going to have other stuff. So if it's not perfectly even, cool. It just means it looks more natural. We're going to pull paint or our tape, third time's a charm on that one, off. That's funny because before this didn't really look all that blue in the grand scheme of things, but against that white border it really does. So there we go. Let's see. I'm just gonna do a gray on that. Like that. And there you go. There's your monochrome painting in Prussian Blue. So I hope you guys enjoyed that. Don't know exactly what my next color is going to be yet. Maybe my forest green or Payne's gray. We will see. And go out, try something, and get back to me. Let me know if you like to do monochrome paintings. I think they're fun. So go out, just paint, and have fun.